And looking for an SEC, ACC challenge win on a Thursday night. We are underway at Charlottesville, and it's Auburn that starts with the basketball. The Tigers without 2 starters tonight. No Caitlin Duhan, and they're still without their leading scorer, Talia Scott. That is a big loss. So instead they go inside, and the junior, Awindamola Akinbalawa, opens the scoring. Take a look at the Who's starting 5. They're without Paris Clark tonight. So injuries for both teams that have had a flurry of games here to start the season. Virginia tries to go inside as well, stolen away.
Virginia has to pass the ball well tonight. They've got to make crisp passes. They can't force things inside. Auburn is an excellent defensive team.
And this is a Tigers team that prides themselves on the defensive end, but they're so good at turning that defense into offense. And another Cavaliers turnover here on the inbound, so ball back to Auburn. Not a good start for the Who's.
Another unforced issue there for Virginia. Auburn's going to force their share of turnovers. You cannot have unforced turnovers if you're the Who's.
Deyona Gaston in attack mode early. And it's a 6-0 start in the opening minute for Auburn. You take a look at those defensive numbers for the Tigers. Not going to get many open looks like that one, and Olivia McGee couldn't connect.
We talked about Gaston scoring on that previous possession. The Gaston versus Latasha Lattimore matchup in this game is going to be really fun. Those two were teammates at Texas a couple of years ago.
You want to talk about fun. Kymora Johnson scoop to the hoop, and Virginia's on the board.
When you look at the talent on this floor, Kymora Johnson is arguably the best player on the floor. She is going to have to bring it tonight for Virginia. She does every night, but she's got to score in the 20s for Virginia to win this game.
Gaston trying to answer on the other end. Everything starts with 21 in white for Virginia. Here's Lattimore. Good to see her back on the court after she missed the last game. Called for a charge there.
Great job by Akinbalawa. That is textbook, setting her feet and taking the charge. But how about Kymora Johnson? The quick hezzy, going left, stops for a second, change of pace, makes them think she's going to shoot, and then right to the rim. Kymora Johnson also dangerous because she can drive left just as well as she can drive right, Jay.
Taylin Collins pull-up pop, and she hits it. Auburn with a great start.
Auburn is getting the looks they want on offense. They're getting mid-range, layups. Not much of a defensive fight yet from Virginia.
Virginia, just 4 possessions in this game. 3 of them have been turnovers. And they turn it over again. So 5 possessions for the Who's, and 4 have resulted in a turnover.
And on that possession, Jay, Olivia McGee decided she was going to make that pass before she looked where the defense was. And Auburn was all over it.
Now, we told you that Auburn prides themselves on the defensive end of the floor. Coach Mox told us that, look, we got to be really dialed into what we're running offensively. And 3 minutes into this game, that has been the case, and then some.
And this is where, too, if you're Virginia, you miss Paris Clark. She's such a leader. She can handle the balls. You can move Kymora Johnson more off ball. They're doing that now with Yonta Vaughn, but this type of game is one where you'd really like to have Clark.
Hurd knocks it down. That's what Brianna Hurd can do, and she cuts the lead in half.
The big-time freshman for Virginia. She is super talented, was a heavily recruited kid out of Missouri. And Coach Mox, similar with Deyona Gaston and Johnny Harris, Coach Mox has been recruiting Brianna Hurd for a very long time as well.
And you can see why there. Terrific shooter. She has started every game of her freshman year. Deyona Gaston with the immediate answer.
They love to get Gaston in that pick and pop. She has great mid-range for her size. You think she's going to roll. She pops, you lay off for a little bit, she's going to knock down that mid-range.
And Gaston has 6 of Auburn's 10. Here's Kymora Johnson, draws the foul.
And Jay, here's what I mean by the pick and pop. So Gaston sets that screen and then she pops out. Lattimore stays in the lane to help. And Gaston is wide open as Lattimore stays in to defend. And a lot of 5 players, or 4, Gaston's playing the 4 right now, can't knock that down with consistency. That's what's different about Gaston.
I was going to say, what a weapon a reliable mid-range jumper is for Deyona Gaston. You mentioned it earlier, Kelly, the Big 12 6th Woman of the Year last year for Texas. Shot clock down to 4. Vaughn has to hoist it. Can't connect. Lattimore tried to keep it in play.
And Jay, think about the difference. This is why players use the portal. Texas, obviously a great team. They're playing tonight against Notre Dame. They're loaded. But she took 7 shots a game last year. And she's taken 15 shots a game this year with this Auburn program.
And when the Tigers get Talia Scott back, what a dynamic duo those two will be. And this is a team that, look, they made the NCAA tournament a year ago. I think that is the expectation when you look at this roster, and yet only 5-3 on the season. So this is a critical game on the road for a team that has big ambitions.
It really is, especially without Talia Scott, who's also a transfer out of the SEC from Arkansas. But look at Gaston and what she's able to do with her 5th year. She had a great career at Texas. You know, she was a contributor on some really good teams, but she wanted to go somewhere where she could be in that go-to role. And then when you pair her, when Talia Scott does get healthy, this team's going to be able to score along with their defense.
Marshawn Bostic right to the rim. Timeout, Virginia. Coach Mox not happy with the Who's start. Tigers have thrown the first punch.
OU Louisville came down to the 4th quarter. Tennessee, Florida State. You don't know which game could be the deciding factor. Last year's challenge ended 7-7. You had some great games at the end that decided, well, I guess decided it to a tie, Jay. But we'll see. Today's going to be really fun, and North Carolina up on Kentucky in the 3rd quarter as well.
Auburn is off to a terrific start. They've done very well turning takeaways into points, 10 of which have come in the paint. Mid-range jumper, no good. Perfect position to clean up the spill. Couldn't get it to go. Taylon Collins fouled underneath.
That's what Virginia cannot afford. You got Deyona Gaston to take a longer mid-range. She missed it. You've got to rebound that ball, clear it out, and go the other way. You cannot afford to let Auburn get second chances when they miss that first one. With how well they're shooting the ball, Jay, they're shooting 60% from the field so far.
We were just talking about the SEC ACC Challenge in its 2nd season. Well, coming up next, right here on ACC Network, Florida and Clemson. Should be a good one as our SEC ACC Challenge doubleheader continues. Kymora Johnson trying to go coast to coast, rejected on her way to the rim. And Kelly, Virginia needs to figure out how to keep the basketball. 9 possessions in this game, 6 have resulted in turnovers.
I don't care who you're playing, that's probably not going to work, but especially not against a team like Auburn, who's so good defensively.
And Auburn is 8 points off those 6 turnovers. Good ball movement here by Virginia, and a foul called. Casey Valenti-Paya will head to the line for 2.
And the first foul here on Gaston. Coach Johnny Harris choosing to give Gaston a break here. We've seen how important Gaston is to this team. You want to prevent her from picking up that 2nd foul.
Good on the first for the Australian. Yeah, the good news for Virginia, you can't turn it over from the foul line as they have struggled to keep hold of the basketball in this first quarter. Valenti-Paya knocked them both down. And we were at Coach Mox's shoot-around. She could not have emphasized enough the importance of keeping that basketball, but Virginia has gifted Auburn 8 of their 12 points off of turnovers. Count it, plus the foul. Taylon Collins.
Taylon Collins realizes that some of Auburn's starters are out. She's got to step up, and I love what I've seen from her so far in this game, coming in averaging around 9 and 6, but she's been aggressive and she's been finishing around the rim.
And completes the and one. Auburn leading 15-7. Now to Vaughn, turnaround jumper, got it! Exactly what Virginia's been looking for.
They need scoring from their other guards, Virginia. It can't just be Kymora Johnson. You've got to have those other threats, and Yonta Vaughn is one of those players that can do that.
Virginia had missed their last 4 shots before that Vaughn make. Stolen away. Now can Virginia get something in transition? Johnson hits it from 3. Kymora Johnson.
Kymora Johnson is just different. There are very few players in the country that coaches would trust to do what she just did, run the floor. Nothing was open, good decision to pull it out. Most players run some offense. Kymora Johnson says, I'm open, I'm gonna let this fly. I shoot 50% from 3, Jay. Of course I'm gonna shoot it.
Back-to-back baskets for Virginia, and just like that, it's a 3-point game. Hurd tried to split the defenders, lost the handle.
And there's the difference. Hurd's a freshman. She needs to pull that ball out, not force it in transition. But Kymora was patient, right? She pulls it out, nothing there. Oh, you're gonna lay off me for a second? I'm letting that thing fly. Give her a little daylight, Jay. 50%. That 50% from 3, and this is a decent sample size. Virginia has played a couple games here. Yeah, this is not just in 2 games. 50% from 3, when she shot just 32% from 3 last year, is impressive.
And as a defender, I don't know what you do with Johnson, because if you press out on her, she'll blow right by you for 2.
You have to make her give up the ball. That's the only way, because when the ball is in Kymora Johnson's hands, good things happen for Virginia.
A foul committed by Olivia McGee. That'll send Soraya Daniels to the line.
And Jay, as well, that's why it's so important that Virginia has other guards that can run the point, and you can bring Kymora Johnson more off ball, so she can not have to worry about breaking the press or running the offense. She can just get that ball and go score.
And Daniels, a freshman, and she's got Auburn blood running through her body, the daughter of 2 Auburn basketball players, the late Shayna Askew Daniels, who passed in June 2023, and her father, Marquis Daniels, who's on Bruce Pearl's staff and had a terrific NBA career after he played for the Tigers.
And I love what Coach Harris was telling us about how she has a great relationship with Bruce Pearl. They'll sit in on each other's practices. As we know, Jay, Auburn is a basketball school. They're a lot of things school, but they're great at basketball, both sides.
I like that term, a lot of things school.
Yeah, a lot of things school. I just made that one up. Not sure if that's grammatically correct, but we'll roll with it.
Catch and shoot, McGee can't connect. Auburn, a transition triple. Dia Young, her first basket of the night, and it's a 3.
Auburn shoots nearly 42% from 3. They don't take a lot of 3s, but when they do, they're good looks, and they make a high percentage.
Kymora Johnson inches away on that pass, and it's the 8th turnover of this first quarter for Virginia. Two minutes remaining in this opening quarter. Auburn back up by 7 after Virginia had cut it to 3. Looking for more from the corner. Daniels misfires. Up ahead, here's Yonta Vaughn. Pull up, pop, got it! Nothing but the bottom of the net from Yonta Vaughn.
I like this connection between Kymora Johnson and Yonta Vaughn, finding each other in good positions. And that was a great play by Yonta Vaughn. Collect herself, hit that mid-range.
Virginia has done well when they've pushed it in transition, and Auburn can't get settled to their 5-on-5 defense. Tigers go inside that time. Sumbani draws the foul. Our ACC Network crews will be in Charlotte for the ACC Championship game between Clemson and SMU. Our preview coverage begins tomorrow afternoon, 3 Eastern, with inside access, followed by ACC PM and ACC Huddle. All eyes will be on SMU and Clemson on Saturday. Kelly Gramlich, have to imagine you're rooting pretty hard for your Tigers.
America's team, absolutely. Absolutely. It's an exciting matchup. You've got SMU, who's come into the ACC and just taken it by storm in football. Excited to see what they do in women's hoops as well. They're playing in the challenge tonight at Missouri. Be a good kind of vote of confidence, right? A goodwill gesture. Join the league, win your game in the SEC challenge. Love to see that.
Yeah, that would be a good way to enter the league.
I'm sure their ACC brethren would enjoy that.
Good pass, sets up a McGee three. Got it! Olivia McGee. And it's a 4-point game.
Olivia McGee, if she can come along for this Virginia team and become a more consistent three-point shooter, because she has a great stroke, that could be a difference maker for the Hoos.
Virginia shooting well from 3. They are 3 for 5 in this first quarter. Auburn trying to answer, and they do. Celia Sumbani, not necessarily known as a three-point shooter, doesn't take many of them. She was 16% from 3 last season. With that make, she's 50%, 5 of 10 for the year. Vaughn off the mark. And now the shot clock off for Auburn. They can hold for the final shot of the quarter.
And Auburn sat Gaston for basically those last 5 minutes, got her some rest. Didn't really need her.
4 seconds down the lane, no good underneath. And Auburn finishes this first quarter with a 7-point lead on the road. Love when the challenge overlaps with V Week. 100% of your donation goes to cancer research. You can visit v.org/donate to get involved. Virginia starts with the basketball, trailing by 7. They struggle to hold the basketball in that first quarter, and they commit the turnover there to start the second. That is now their 9th turnover of the night.
And Gaston back in the game for Auburn. Those passes in the paint are going to be really difficult for Virginia to complete against Gaston and her length.
Sets the screen here. And she was so good in that pick and roll game in the opening quarter. Shot clock down to 3. Collins, she's been very aggressive tonight. Taylon Collins up to 8 points for Auburn.
I've been very impressed with her. And Coach Harris said, look, we're going to see who can step up with some of these players having to play bigger roles with our injuries. And Taylon Collins said, hey, Coach, I'm one of those players that's ready to step up.
Yeah, the Tigers missing 2 starters tonight. Talia Scott, their leading scorer, and Caitlin Duhan. And Taylon Collins has made a huge impact. Marshawn Bostic slowing it down for Auburn. They're a team comfortable playing late in the shot clock. Gaston, open jumper, she'll make you pay.
It's automatic. That pick and pop is automatic right now for Auburn. Honestly, Gaston is more dangerous than the ball handler. You've got to think about Gaston first in the pick and pop and not whoever's dribbling the basketball.
McGee for 3, can't connect. And Auburn an 11-point lead, which is their largest of the night. We expected kind of one of these games where it's close and competitive. Didn't really expect either team to ever get to a double-digit lead, but it's a testament to Johnny Harris and this Tigers team. They have come motivated looking for this road challenge win.
And Jay, when it comes to guarding that pick and roll, the Virginia guards have to hold their own when they're guarding that ball handler. The Virginia post players can't help. Gaston has been so difficult to guard. You have to go one-on-one and be more prepared to guard Gaston in that pick and pop.
And Virginia can't get the rebound. It falls right to Daniels for an easy two. So even when they get Gaston to miss, that's the type of game it's been for Virginia so far. Vaughn's three goes begging. Auburn on a 9-2 run. Tigers looking for more. Collins through traffic. Taylin Collins. She's got 10 points. Timeout, Virginia. Auburn has started this second quarter on an 8-0 run, and the Cavaliers taking a timeout. Auburn on an 11-2 run. They've opened up a 15-point lead.
And it's these two fifth-year seniors, Deyona Gaston, and how about Taylin Collins, the Oklahoma State transfer. I love how she's attacked the rim. She's been a really good balance with Gaston, making those, she's a bigger guard, making those Virginia guards try to stay in front of her and deal with her size. And these two, Collins and Gaston, they have as many points as Virginia does.
Yeah, they've combined for 17, and for Collins, she's just 4 shy of a season-high 13. Auburn on an 8-0 run in this second quarter, 11-2 overall. And that's exactly what Virginia's been looking for. Kymora Johnson right to the rim for 2.
I know Auburn is trying to keep the ball out of her hands, but there is no reason why Kymora Johnson should not be heavily involved in every offensive possession for Virginia.
And Virginia goes zone defensively.
I was wondering if Coach Mox would do this. I think it's smart because the way Auburn is tearing them up, driving the basketball, help them rebound, help them counter some of Auburn's size.
And Gaston immediately shoots over that zone. She's up to 10 points on the night.
If Gaston's gonna shoot it that well from that far out, that short corner extended, that's a zone buster. Anything short corner, if you can knock that down consistently, it's tough.
And Lattimore's been quiet, hands it off for Lauterbach for 2. Virginia back-to-back baskets, so offensive improvement now. Can they get a stop defensively with this zone change?
And Virginia almost in a 1-2-2 here with Lattimore at the top with her length and her size at 6'4", and then Lauterbach inside at 6'7".
A good defensive stop there from Virginia. And here's Kymora Johnson. She's got 7 of the Cavaliers' 21. Lines up a 3. Too much on it. Long rebound, stays with Virginia. Vaughn tries a 3. In and out, no good.
Virginia's still in that zone. They're giving up the short corner. I would give up that short corner to anybody not named Gaston, Jay.
You can live with that shot.
Yes, exactly. That's a good defensive stop for Virginia.
Trying to go inside the Lauterbach. Mishandled it. 10th turnover of this first half for Virginia. Stolen away. Kymora Johnson in perfect position. Hands it off for an easy finish. Latasha Lattimore.
A great pass by Kymora Johnson. Lattimore not even bringing that ball down, just finishing in transition. This zone has worked well for Virginia. Auburn looks a little frazzled against this 1-2-2 look with Lattimore up top with that size.
Cavaliers have gotten 3 straight stops. They go inside. Auburn stays with it. They kick it back out. It can reset with Marshawn Bostic. Shot clock still at 12. Tigers have time here. Gaston. Usually she'll make you pay from there. Finally a miss from her tonight. Johnson in attack mode. Everything but the finish.
Virginia's missed 3 or 4 layups, and that's really hurting them when you look at the deficit and you look at kind of the momentum lost, missing those layups in transition.
The timeout, Auburn. Tigers leading by 11 will step aside. ACC Women's Challenge. Since Virginia has gone zone, Auburn no points in the last 3 minutes. They go inside, no good. Olivia McGee, great defense on the interior. Johnson ricochets right back to her.
So that's what I mean. That passing in the paint, it works against some of these smaller teams that Virginia's played in the non-con, but it's not going to work against this length.
And Johnson short on the 3. So even though Virginia's dialed in the defensive pressure with this zone, they've gotten some stops. They failed to capitalize on the offensive end.
But they have shown that they can do something defensively to slow down Auburn. When you play a zone, it's really hard to run pick and roll action. So I love this move from Coach Mox, taking Auburn out of the pick and roll.
That is 6 straight misses for this Auburn team that was red hot in the first part of this second quarter. Got out to an 8-0 start in the opening minutes. They've only got 2 points in this second quarter since. They're on a scoring drought of more than 4 minutes now. So the door is cracked for Virginia. McGee a 3 off the mark.
McGee rushed that shot. She didn't realize she was going to be as wide open, didn't set her feet as well. That's a great look. Again, it's some of that momentum lost, right? These are plays, that layup, that 3, that if Virginia can connect, it would feel like a different ball game.
So Auburn scored 1 basket on that first possession of Virginia playing zone since they've turned it over. They've missed 6 in a row. So the zone switch has made a difference defensively. Cavaliers desperate for something on the offensive end. Maybe they can get it from the free throw line.
And this is where, if you're Auburn, you really miss a player like Talia Scott right now. Your best 3-point shooter by far, 50% from beyond the arc. One of the ways to beat a zone, we talked about short corner, but also you got to make threes. It's so important to knock down threes against a zone. And Auburn's had a few players do so with Young and Sumbani. I mean, those two can do it, but missing Talia Scott is big right now.
First good from the line by Vaughn. 10-point game as we remind you. ACC men's basketball coming your way Saturday. Triple header right here on ACC Network. Boston College and Wake Forest, Georgia Tech at UNC, and then Stanford and Cal. So Virginia on an 8-2 run, and Auburn nearing a 5-minute scoring drought. Here's the freshman Jordan Hunter. Floats it. Taylon Collins. Shot clock down to 7. Collins into the lane. Count it, plus the foul. What a first half performance this is for Taylon Collins.
This is her second chance at a 3-point play so far in this game. And Taylon Collins attacking the middle of that zone, finishing through contact, that's just a tough play. It's good defense, but it's even better offense by Taylon Collins.
And it's the third foul against Latasha Lattimore right before halftime. Virginia a little thin on their front court depth, so Lattimore with 3 fouls is critical. And Collins moves just 1 shy of her season high. Foul called off the ball there.
We really have not had a lot of fouls called in this game, Jay. Only 13, neither team anywhere near the bonus as we near the end of the second quarter.
Kymora Johnson. She's so crafty. Kymora Johnson puts it back to a 10-point game.
That is tough from Kymora Johnson and over Taylon Collins, who has, what, 6 inches on Kymora Johnson? That's impressive. And Lattimore was so effective at the top of that zone, Jay. She's out with the foul trouble. Brianna Hurd, the young freshman, now getting the nod at the top of that 1-2-2.
It leads to an uncontested 3 off the mark. Right back to Johnson. Goes coast to coast, everything but the finish.
That is 4 layups that Virginia has missed that would absolutely have changed the fabric of this game.
Auburn can hold for the last shot here. And a travel, so ball back to Virginia with 10 seconds on the timer in this first half.
It'll be interesting to see what adjustments Coach Johnny Harris makes at halftime. Obviously, they looked a little frazzled against this zone. They've settled a bit, but I'm sure she's going to put in a few things at halftime to better them offensively against this 1-2-2.
3 seconds, Vaughn goes up with it and hits. And even though...
Let's see how Auburn adjusts offensively against this zone.
It's Auburn that starts with the basketball in this second half and an 8-point lead. And Virginia, no surprise, sticks in that zone that was so effective. Final 6 minutes and 12 seconds, only 5 points scored for a Tigers offense that was red hot. And Deyona Gaston making that halftime adjustment, gets free in the paint and cashes in.
Yeah, they're going to use Gaston around the short corner. She wasn't able to convert in the second quarter against the zone, but she was ready to shoot that ball the second she caught it. And then how about the block on the other end by Gaston?
Now, this is what makes Deyona Gaston such a dynamic player, what she can do on both ends of the floor. And the rebounding numbers as well. She is a complete player for this Auburn Tigers team. And great defense again, and grabs the rebound. Right on cue, Deyona Gaston has dominated the first 40 seconds of this third quarter.
And Auburn is going to want to pick their moments to get out in transition. It's really hard to get into a zone in transition defense. Most teams, even if they're playing zone, they're going to stay with a man-to-man in transition defense. So if Auburn can run, they can get Virginia out of that zone.
Gaston has come out aggressive, the lefty layup. Back-to-back baskets for Deyona Gaston.
One of the things Coach Harris was telling Gaston at halftime is you got to make quick decisions. Against a zone, especially in the middle, if you're playing that top of the key position, you cannot think about it. You just got to go.
And that is a costly foul against Latasha Lattimore, her 4th. Called for the charge there. And she will have to sit for a while now with 4 fouls.
That is massive, and Lattimore knew it the second that she got off the floor. She knew what had happened. That is a textbook charge by Kymora, and she took one earlier in the game as well. That's her 2nd charge that she's taken. Excellent defense, well done.
And Lattimore is the key piece of this zone that's been so effective at the top. Going back to Deyona Gaston for a second, who's been phenomenal tonight with 14 points Head coach Johnny Harris told us that we just got to get her touches. They got her a touch right here. This time misfires, especially with Talia Scott out of the lineup. Leading scorer for Auburn still injured. That rolls around the rim, does not drop, but 2 free throws coming.
And again, those layups for Virginia, the game would feel very different. I know Hurd getting to the free throw line, but an and one there would be some of that momentum that Virginia can grab onto.
Brianna Hurd to the line for 2. Misfires the first. Coming up next, our SEC ACC Challenge doubleheader continues with Florida and Clemson right here on ACC Network. A good start to the night for the ACC with North Carolina beating Kentucky over on ESPN2. That game went final while we were at halftime.
And here's some full court pressure. Some trapping action, a 1-2-2, but extended. Trying to force some turnovers and just keep Auburn on their toes.
Auburn handles the pressure well. Tigers with an 11-point lead early in this third quarter.
And now Auburn dropped back into a man off of the 1-2-2 pressure full court. So let's keep up, Jay. We got a 1-2-2 in the half court, and now we're falling back into man after a 1-2-2 press.
And the defensive switch, the right move again, forces a travel. So Virginia shifting things defensively throughout this game. The changes have been effective so far. Now can they string together some offensive possessions? That is really what has plagued them in this game. Kymora Johnson. She'd be the go-to player. Didn't get a clean look there.
Gaston and Kymora are affecting these shots inside for Virginia.
Gaston loses the handle, stolen away by Vaughn. Up ahead, Olivia McGee dispossessed, swiped at the last second. Great defense. Marshawn Bostic. Terrific effort there.
What a play by her. Only 2 points tonight, but 6 assists for Bostic.
Here's Kymora Johnson. Virginia's been most effective in transition. Johnson usually automatic there. It just rims out. She can't believe it. Virginia just 2 for their last 13.
And that's 6 missed layups now. Just by my count. There may be 1 or 2 I missed early on, but you can look at the score, you can do the math. That would be a big difference right now.
Johnson hesitates, kicks out for Hurd, cross-court pass, and a little too much on it. Valenti Paya couldn't hang on.
Kymora Johnson's got to shoot that. She had enough space to get it off. She's a 50% three-point shooter. The best play for Virginia as a team is for her to shoot that shot.
And Virginia goes back into the zone. You wonder if that missed layup was weighing on Johnson's mind when she passed up that 3.
Perhaps. It feels like, though, if you're that great from beyond the arc, which she is, like I said, it's almost selfish to not shoot that shot. The unselfish play for your team is to shoot that 3.
Vaughn, open 3, too much on it. And Virginia's getting good looks, Kelly. They just can't connect.
3 for 12 from beyond the arc, and that has been an issue for them. You're right, Jay. The defense has been there since what we talked about in the second quarter, since the switch to zone. Virginia's defense has been great. They just haven't been able to convert.
Johnson, the steal. And the finish.
Let's see if that layup gets her going, Jay. Gets her going again. She was great offensively in the first half, but obviously they need Kymora Johnson. As I said earlier in the game, they need her in the 20s for her to win, for Virginia to win this game.
Well, she's up to 11 tonight. That's her first basket in this third quarter. Great pass. Gaston puts it right on the doorstep with Kymora. Auburn, that immediate answer puts the Tigers' lead back at 11. Illegal screen called against Riley Grays. Ball back to Auburn.
And they're trying to run a flare here. Oh, this is the Auburn play where Auburn scores on this zone. Great passing by Gaston. Defense comes up, so much defense going to Gaston, all the attention she attracts, and then a great dump down to her teammate.
Owindamola Akinbaloa, the junior from Nigeria, getting a start tonight. She's provided good minutes for Auburn underneath, but Gaston, the star of the show, Deyona Gaston, 16 points tonight for Auburn.
If you let Gaston catch the ball that deep in the paint, Jay, it's a wrap.
Lauterbach, kick out, a three, no good. Virginia's now missed their last 8 threes after starting the game, 3 for 5 from deep. Kymora Johnson trying to ignite Virginia. Hurd goes begging from deep, so Virginia's missed their last 9 threes.
And Hurd rushed that one as well. It feels like a few of these instances where Virginia's had wide open looks from 3, they're rushing them.
Yeah, that's what's shocking about these 9 straight misses from 3. A lot of them have been good looks.
Right.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Hunter has to hoist. $13-point deficit for Virginia. Who's going to be the offensive spark for a Cavaliers team that has only scored 3 points in this third quarter? A kick off Jordan Hunter. And Auburn in the driver's seat.
And Deyona Gaston has been the story for Auburn. Guard her in man, guard her in zone. She is going to score 16 points so far for the 5th-year senior.
Save lives. You can join the fight against cancer visiting v.org/donate. Virginia looking for a spark offensively. They've only scored 3 points in this third quarter, and now they've missed their last 10 threes. Good hustles, keeps the ball with the Cavaliers. They go inside to Lauterbach, who finishes at the rim.
As I always say when I'm calling a Virginia game, Jay, you cannot teach 6-7. And that's what Lauterbach brings you, a really good finish over Deyona Gaston.
And good to see Virginia go inside, because for whatever reason, the threes have just not fallen. A good defense from Virginia. They've got the possession arrow. So ball to the Cavaliers. So a good spark out of the media timeout for Virginia.
Virginia's goal coming out of that media timeout, under 3 minutes in the third. If you can cut this game to single digits heading into the 4th, then you feel better and perhaps can get some offense going in that 4th quarter.
15th turnover of the night. And Auburn continues to cash in. That's their 15th point off turnover tonight.
When Gaston catches that ball in rhythm and she really gets into the legs of her shot, it's going in. She has put on a mid-range clinic this evening in JPJ.
Yeah, 18 points tonight for Deyona Gaston. There's a foul on the floor going against Auburn. So even though Kymora Johnson is just shooting 5 of 14 for Virginia, she does have a double-double. 11 rebounds to go along with 11 points. She inbounds it here. Wide open three. Rolled around the rim, just did not drop. Auburn in control, a 13-point lead as we near the end of the third quarter. Here's Johnson, full head of steam. Loses the handle, dispossessed again. Jordan Hunter comes away with it. 2-on-1. Defense into offense, timeout Virginia. Frustrating sequence there as the Tigers tie their largest lead of the night, 15.
Concerned that Clemson is not America's team, and I just don't understand what these people could possibly be talking about.
I want you to take us inside the range of emotions you felt losing to your rival at home and then hours later finding out you're going to play for an ACC championship.
Pain, sadness, and then a little hope came back into my life, Jay.
Well, speaking of a little hope, Virginia comes out of the timeout. They score a basket, and then an inbounds violation gives the ball right back to the Cavaliers here.
A big break. And like I said earlier, still, if you can cut this lead to single digits heading into the fourth, that could be big.
And Lattimore back into the game playing with 4 fouls. That one goes against Taylor Lauterbach.
Every time Virginia has tried to pass the ball in the paint, it has been a turnover. They've got to find, when they get in the paint, when you use your dribble to get in the paint, look to score. That's what you've got to do at this point, because that length from Auburn, no passes are available once you get into the lane.
They have cut down all the passing lanes inside. They've cashed in for 17 points off turnovers tonight. Kick to the corner. Shot clock down to 1. Off the mark from the freshman Jordan Hunter. Virginia has time here. Well, they hurry it with Lattimore, who finds 2 points inside.
Lattimore playing with those 4 fouls, back in the lineup for this quick stretch before we get to the fourth quarter.
Third quarter down to 3 seconds left in it. Hunter a deep 3, off the mark. And Virginia
for Auburn. She was great when Virginia was playing man. Took her a second, she adjusted. Very effective against the zone as well.
You take a look at that third quarter, 8 points to put her at 18 total points on the night. They get it right to Gaston to start the fourth. Foul called as Gaston went sliding back there.
One thing I really love about Deyona Gaston's game is how quickly she makes decisions. Sometimes you'll see post players catch that ball, think about it, feel where the defense is, and then the defense gets to adjust. The defense gets to anticipate. When Deyona Gaston catches that ball, she's making a move, and it's very difficult to guard, especially with how well she shoots the ball. And here's what I mean, Jay. She catches that ball, she's going to work. Power dribble, going up. It takes a high basketball IQ. You're feeling where the defense is on you. And then mentally you're saying, okay, because the defense is playing a little lower on me, I'm going to take this quick power dribble, or I'm going to fade away, or whatever it is. But you can tell Deyona Gaston, she's got a high basketball IQ, but she's also played a lot of basketball as a fifth-year senior.
Up to 20 points tonight. She has embraced her role change from being the 6th woman of the year in the Big 12 for Texas a year ago to now being the star of the show for Auburn. The Tigers with a comfortable lead in this 4th quarter. They'd love to close out this road win, though. They had a 6-point lead with a minute to go their last time out against Kansas and ended up losing that game.
And Jay, we've talked about Virginia's three-point shooting struggles. To me, the only way Virginia gets back in this game is they have to make some threes in this 4th quarter. With this kind of deficit and the way Auburn is still scoring the ball effectively, some of those threes have to fall.
I didn't know which way you were going with that because Virginia's missed their last 12 threes, so I didn't know if you were going to say they have to abandon the three altogether and only go inside, but they got to start knocking them down. And what's funny is the Cavaliers started this game 3 for 5.
Yeah.
And since then, they have missed 12 in a row from 3.
Jay, I would never tell someone to abandon the three. Absolutely not. But with this deficit and just the fact that you haven't been able to string together a bunch of stops, Auburn is still scoring the ball. It feels like you've got to get some threes to go.
Lattimore makes them both from the line, and Virginia is going to dial up some full court pressure here, trailing by 11, 9 minutes to go.
Lattimore has to be careful. She's going to be involved in some of these traps. She has those 4 fouls.
Bostic is double teamed there, passes out of it. Auburn breaks the pressure. The Tigers very comfortable playing the shot clock down, even more so with a double-digit lead. Stolen away. Lauterbach using that 6'7" wingspan to knock it away. And Lattimore is fouled again underneath. Latasha Lattimore been very aggressive, even with 4 fouls. You just can't turn it off for the senior. She only knows one way. Pays off that time.
And we talked about the importance of the three, but as we know, Jay, if you can get to the free throw line, stop that clock, that can be very beneficial in this 4th quarter as you're trying to claw back into the ball game.
And Lattimore, teammates with Deyona Gaston in Texas for the 2021-2022 season. So that's been a matchup we thought we'd see more of because of Lattimore's foul trouble. It's been limited, as we remind you. ACC women's basketball continues on Sunday. Triple header right here on ACC Network. Kelly, you got Virginia Tech at Duke, 4 Eastern time. What should we look forward to in that matchup?
Well, Virginia Tech got a big win over Georgia in the SEC ACC Challenge, and as Brianna Hurd makes a great play. And then Duke, of course, they have South Carolina tonight. So whether Duke wins or loses, they're going to have to recover quickly from that game.
Timeout, Johnny Harris. The Auburn lead is down to 9. Virginia bringing full court pressure, so the Tigers want to talk things over. presented by Ally. The bank, that's your ally. Kelly Gramlich, Jay Alter with you. SEC, ACC Women's Challenge. In the fourth quarter, Auburn's lead is down to 9, and Virginia's full court pressure has worked. There's some notable challenge results from last night, and then tonight in a ranked matchup, top 16, North Carolina, convincing win against Kentucky.
Very impressed with that North Carolina win, and right now the challenge is at a 4-3 score, so 4 wins for the SEC, 3 for the ACC. If Virginia can find a way, they could tie it up, and they just force a 10-second call.
Yeah, the Cavaliers have dialed it up defensively. That full court pressure pays off. 10-second violation. Virginia has the basketball. Now can they just get Kymora Johnson going? Just 5 of 15 from the floor. Instead, they go inside Lauterbach. Double team, stays with it. And a foul call.
And again, that free throw line, that's another way. If the threes aren't going to fall, which, as Jay has told us, they really haven't. Getting to the free throw line, scoring while the clock's not running, and just making this game last as long as possible, making Auburn uncomfortable on the road, seeing if you can find your way back into it.
Virginia was 9 of 10 from the line before that miss. And a make here would allow Virginia to set up their full court pressure. It has been highly effective in this fourth quarter. Auburn breaks the press really well here. Off to Gaston. Misses it.
And great defense by Lauterbach. Didn't foul, used her size, hands straight up, forced Gaston to make a tough shot.
Deyona Gaston, who's been near automatic tonight, 20 points to her name, misses there. And Vaughn can't capitalize on the other end.
Every possession matters right now for Virginia. You have to get good looks. That long two, contested long two, not the best look Virginia could have gotten.
Into the lane and a foul called. Marshawn Bostic, the senior, will head to the line for 2. Bostic 6 assists tonight as she notches her 3rd point from the foul line. And this is a Tigers team that have built this lead because of their defense, but their offense has done just enough. The officials have blown play dead here. Looks to be a clock issue. They're pointing straight to the clock.
I don't think the shot clock started.
It might not have ever reset. Well, it did reset.
Yeah, they just didn't start it. Heads up call by the official.
Yeah,
good eye.
Noticed it right away. 9-point game. Final 7 minutes and 30 seconds here. Auburn led by as many as 15. Here's Kymora Johnson. Double-double to her name tonight. Misses there. To Gaston. Rejected. Lattimore playing with 4 fouls. Gets all ball there.
At first, it was a heck of a catch by Gaston, and then an even better play, Lattimore with the block.
Taylon Collins had the hot hand in the first half. Another block. This one belongs to Taylor Lauterbach. And even though Auburn's made a few free throws, they have not scored a basket in 3 minutes and 30 seconds here. Great block.
Great block by Lauterbach.
Lauterbach, is that what you were going for there?
Lauder block. Hey, look, the name speaks for itself. It works really well. Yeah, Jay, I was hoping you'd pick up on what I was saying.
Oh, I got you. Johnson, back door open. And Virginia's back within 7.
This crowd starting to come alive for Virginia. They've won 8 straight home games dating back to last season. They've got some momentum right now.
Now, Virginia has never led in this game. Auburn led by as many as 15. That lead has been cut in half. Shot clock down to 7. They find Gaston, who draws the foul. It's been a 20-point night for Deyona Gaston, trying to get Auburn to the finish line here on the road in the SEC ACC Women's Challenge.
I really like how Auburn handled that possession against the zone. Basically, lull Virginia to sleep, make them forget about Gaston for a split second, have her flash quickly to the high post, and then, of course, as you know, Jay, once she gets that ball, she makes such a quick move and a quick decision.
Well, this is an Auburn team that is 5-3 on the season. In those 3 losses, a lot of those games, they were leading in the 4th quarter, including they had a 6-point lead with just a minute to go and ended up losing to Kansas last time out. So they will want to hold on to this lead, finish strong here with a little more than 6 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. As you'd expect, everything working through Kymora Johnson right now. Trying to spin her way free. Finds Lauterbach. That rim's off, no good. And stays Virginia basketball underneath their own hoop. Lattimore dispossessed by Gaston, the former teammates at Texas.
And that's a tough spot to put Lattimore in if you're Yantavon making the inbounds pass. She wasn't open. From the way that play looked, she didn't look like the first option either.
Lattimore's played this entire 4th quarter with 4 fouls. Has done well to avoid picking up her 5th. Shot clock down to 4. Pull up pop, no good. Taylon Collins can't connect. Down the lane, up and in. Kymora Johnson delivers.
Kymora Johnson pushing the pace, getting to the rim, making sure Virginia can get some opportunities in transition, imploring her team. Virginia has made this a ball game.
2-possession game. And the Cavaliers defense has kept them in it. Auburn has not made a basket in more than 6 minutes. They've got a couple of free throws during that stretch. And a turnover. This Cavaliers defense willing them to the finish line.
Auburn missing some of their depth, as we've mentioned earlier. Only brought 9 players on this trip due to injuries. They're in the midst of their 6th straight road game. They've had 24 days where they haven't played a home game. Some of that fatigue perhaps starting to set in for Auburn.
Down 2 starters. Their last home game, November 14th. But they've got a 6-point lead, trying to hold on. Kymora Johnson has other ideas. And one opportunity for the hometown hero.
That is special from Kymora Johnson. She's taken over these last 2 possessions. Uses the screen. She loves that hesitation move. And then the one-handed finish to draw the foul. When it's the 4th quarter, Jay, it's Kymora Johnson time.
A career-high 12 rebounds to go along with her 18 points, and it's a 1-possession game. Virginia trailed by as many as 15 They've held Auburn without a field goal for the last 7 minutes to claw right back in it. Johnson, good anticipation, almost stole it away. Bostic on the drive. Shot clock down to 4. A 3, it's good! Nothing but the bottom of the net. Audie Young delivers.
What a shot. That is how you quiet a crowd. Great offense by Auburn. And Audie Young making the most of her opportunity.
Lauterbach, perfect position to clean up the spill underneath.
Lauterbach's had a great second half. Didn't see much of her in the first half, but she's come alive, been good defensively, and given them some offense.
It took a little while to get here, but this is the close, competitive, back-and-forth game we expected. Underneath, Gaston rims out, but she'll get 2 at the line. Deyona Gaston, so tough underneath for Auburn.
Here's another look. Lauterbach, great defense there on the first play. And then she breaks the plane. The first play was perfect defense, hands straight up. Second play, she just let it get away from her a little bit. That's a good call by the official.
Full weekend on ACC Network. It starts tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Inside Access, ACC PM, and ACC Huddle. And then Saturday, got you covered with the pregame and postgame show around the ACC Championship. SMU and Clemson will decide it in Charlotte. Back to a 6-point lead for Auburn. Gaston, 23 points to her name tonight. Everything going through Johnson, lost the handle that time.
Great play by Bostic. Good defense, getting her hands on the basketball.
3 minutes remaining in regulation. Auburn has led the entire game, now clinging to a 2-possession lead. Bostic finds Collins, who hits it. Taylon Collins, a season high, 14 points.
And that's Collins' first bucket of the second half. Had a great first half, but massive shot for Auburn.
And Johnson, a hard foul. So good driving the lane, drawing contact. She'll head to the line for 2. This has been a nice response for Auburn after Virginia had cut it to 3. The crowd starts to roar, and Johnny Harris's team has answered strongly here. It feels like this home crowd gets extra loud for Kymora Johnson, the Charlottesville native, now in her sophomore season, was a ball kid for Virginia games growing up, so she's living the dream, and this crowd loves cheering for her.
I love this story. I just think it's so cool as a player who grew up right here in this city, grew up coming to all of these games, probably idolized all the players that played for Virginia when she's a kid, and now she's doing that for other little kids growing up in this area. I just think it's so special, and she's a heck of a player, Jay. I mean, she is fun to watch.
Second career double-double tonight for Johnson, 20 points and 12 rebounds. Now trying to find a way to get Virginia this win. A foul call there against Johnson, not happy about it. The home crowd in Johnson's defense here. We'll take another look.
I see why they called it. You get one touch, which she was already being aggressive, and then kind of hooked. They both got hooked together, but Kymora Johnson made the first contact. And it's tough because now you put Auburn on the line. Both teams in the bonus at this juncture.
The third foul against Johnson. Taylor Lauterbach and Latasha Lattimore playing with 4 fouls. Auburn misses both from the line. Bostic couldn't connect on either one. Opportunity for Johnson. Sends it back, and Hurd is fouled. So Brianna Hurd, the freshman, will step to the line for 2. This game has been very physical down the stretch. You mentioned both teams in the bonus. The free throws get more and more important with every passing second. And that is the fourth foul against Deyona Gaston.
Multiple important pieces with 4 fouls on either side, but Gaston obviously been the best player in this game. She's got to stay on the floor for Auburn.
The Auburn lead that was once 15 is now down to 5, 2:27 remaining. And you have to be careful with Gaston, leading scorer tonight with 23 points on the court with 4 fouls. Has it here. Good break of that Virginia press.
Well done by Auburn. Didn't even need a dribble to break the Virginia press.
Here's Taylon Collins, finds Bostic, 5 seconds to shoot. Bostic in attack mode, down the lane for 2. Marshawn Bostic.
Bostic has made some big plays for Auburn in the second part of this fourth quarter.
Johnson splits 2, misses the layup.
Gotta have it. Points are at a premium. You gotta have those layups if you're Virginia.
And uncharacteristic for Kymora Johnson, who's been terrific tonight with 20 points and 13 rebounds. 10 seconds to shoot. Virginia desperate for a stop. And they get it.
Great play by Hurd. The freshman battling Gaston inside, got the tip to get her team the rebound.
Great cut, denied at the rim. Deyona Gaston with the biggest block of the night. 1 minute remaining. Auburn a 7-point lead. And Virginia has to foul. They had no choice. You know, you can't afford Auburn to run off a full 30 seconds.
What a play by Deyona Gaston, especially with 4 fouls. To go up there with the confidence, and that was a textbook block, not a foul to be seen. What a play.
Timeout Auburn. Johnny Harris's team, a 7-point lead with under a minute to play. They blew a 6-point lead with 1 minute in the loss against Kansas last time out. Boy, they'd love to get back home with a road win in the SEC, ACC Women's Challenge. They haven't played a home game since November 14th. They're down 2 starters, and they have found a way tonight.
Jay, we talked about this heading into this game. Both of these teams coming off Thanksgiving tournaments that didn't go the way they wanted. Which team wants it more? Under a minute, 7-point ball game. This game could end up being very important for a resume come March, but right now, there's a minute left. Who wants this win? I know both teams are exhausted from those tournaments. I know both teams have injuries. Who's gonna pull it out?
Well, it's been Deyona Gaston for Auburn. Her 23 points really ignited this Tigers team on the road. Each team with 1 timeout remaining. Possession arrow with Virginia.
Like you said, Jay, both teams in the bonus. 58 seconds left, 7-point game. If I'm Virginia, after these free throws, you got to go quickly. You do not have time to waste. Get Kymora Johnson going downhill, get her going to the rim. Make the game longer, as I've said earlier, get to the free throw line, but you've got to go quickly.
Bostic misses the first of 2. Auburn has struggled from the foul line tonight, just 11 of 19. It has kept the door slightly cracked for Virginia. The time is not in favor for Coach Mox's team. Not to Vaughn. Has to get going here. They find Johnson. Here's Kymora Johnson. And a foul called. She'll get 2 at the line.
That's the last thing you want right now if you're Auburn. There's no need to foul. Play it out, let more time run off the clock, and now you put Kymora Johnson, a great free throw shooter, at the line.
She can make it a 2-possession game and cut this lead down to 6. I think the question for Virginia is, Callie, can you afford to play out this possession, or do you have to foul here?
I think you at least play it through 1 or 2 passes. You have to get a trap in there, see if you can force a turnover. Auburn only has 1 timeout. I don't think they're going to call one if they don't have to. Play for a trap or 2, see if you can force a turnover.
Auburn breaks the press, and then that foul comes in. And that is the 5th for Latasha Lattimore.
And that's just really good execution by Auburn, not succumbing to the pressure, not playing tight, breaking that press, and getting to the free throw line.
So Lattimore fouls out as Marshawn Bostic steps back to the foul line. As we get ready for Auburn to shoot 2, you look over at the stats, and Virginia's 3 of 17 from the three-point line. I think that's the difference in this game. Callie just could never get it going from deep.
That's a brutal stat line there for Virginia, a team that shoots 32% on the year, and especially a player like Kymora Johnson, who's a 50% three-point shooter. If she had made 1 or 2, could have changed the game. Obviously, she did so much for Virginia, but as we talked about, they needed to make some threes in that 4th quarter.
Coach Mox uses Virginia's final timeout, especially when you consider that this Cavaliers team started 3 of 5 from 3 and then missed 12 in a row. But they're going to need a 3, I think, in the final 41 seconds if they want to get a miraculous comeback here in the final minute. You credit Deyona Gaston and this Auburn team. They built an early lead, and Gaston just kept it going.
She's been tremendous. She's been consistent throughout the game. A threat inside, great on the defensive end, scoring every which way. 20 feet and in, Gaston has been automatic. In the short corner, at the rim, that block was huge when Virginia was making their run. But just an impressive showing from Deyona Gaston. Spent 4 years at Texas, had a really good career at Texas, wanted to play her final year for Coach Johnny Harris, who recruited her at Mississippi State. And so far, so good for Gaston. She's had a great start to this season. When they get Talia Scott back, those 2 players together that can each give you 20 a night, that could be scary for Auburn in the SEC.
A team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago, and with this roster, you'd expect them to be right in contention to be back in it, especially, like you said, Kelly, when they get Talia Scott back. They had to be down 2 starters and in position to win this road game in the SEC ACC Women's Challenge. Just need a couple more stops. A lot of time coming off the clock, 30 seconds remaining. Virginia has to hurry here.
Great defense by Auburn, not giving them anything right now.
Johnson thought she was fouled, no call. Just lost the handle, still pleading her case. It's falling on deaf ears.
That's Auburn's defense. You got to give the credit to Auburn there. Johnny Harris, a defensive-minded coach, coached with Vic Schaefer for nearly 10 years. Her teams are always going to bring it on the defensive end.
That rolls off the rim, no good. So the free throws made this a little more uncomfortable than it needed to be down the stretch for Auburn. As Gaston misses both of them. But the defense delivers. Sally Sumbani puts the exclamation point on it for Auburn. Well, you just said it, Kelly. Defense, the word of the night for Auburn. A road win for the Tigers in the SEC ACC Challenge. Virginia never led in this game. The Tigers got a hot start and never looked back.